I wouldn't French kiss in a million years.
And why the hell not?
Hello, germs, spit, mucus, old bits of food. That's just to name a couple. There's a lot of things in there. I mean, why do you have to use your tongue anyway? Aren't you supposed to kiss with your lips?
Because it's not a real kiss unless you use your tongue.
Why? What's the point? I mean, what are you supposed to do? Lick the inside of her mouth? Are you supposed to lick her teeth? Do you make your tongue hard or soft?
God, Bill, enough.
What? I want to know now, since everybody seems to think that French kissing is so great.
Let's take a trip back to 1999. A time of frosted tips, Y2K fears, and the birth of a television masterpiece, Freaks and Geeks. The TV landscape was dominated by titans like Friends and ER, capturing the hearts of mature audiences with their relatable narratives and compelling characters. Meanwhile, shows like Dawson's Creek and Buffy the Vampire Slayer held a magnifying glass to high school life, albeit through a fantastical lens. And then, from the fertile creative minds of Paul Feig and Judd Apatow, Freaks and Geeks emerged, presenting a raw, unfiltered view of adolescence, feeling more like a documentary than a sitcom. The series was set in the fictitious town of Chippewa, Michigan, and revolved around the Weir siblings, Lindsay and Sam, navigating the perilous landscape of high school, surrounded by their group of misfit friends. Now, Freaks and Geeks did not just throw us into the thick of high school, but it did so with a cast that would later become some of the biggest names in Hollywood. That's right, this humble high school drama was a launch pad for the careers of James Franco, Jason Segel, Seth Rogen, Linda Cardellini, Busy Phillips, and more. James Franco played Daniel Desario, the prototypical high school bad boy. He was a slacker with an effortless charm that made him popular among the freaks. But beneath that rugged exterior, Franco masterfully portrayed Desario's vulnerabilities and complexities, adding depth to what could have been a very stereotypical role.
Dwarfs can do a lot of things that huge guys can't do.
It's true. Take it from me.
Yeah, dwarves are really tough. They're good at finding jewels.
All right, fine, I'll be a dwarf. But my name is Carlos.
Carlos the dwarf?
Yeah, you got a problem with that, Gorthon? I'm just trying to be rational.
Are you calling me irrational? Because I'll tear your head off, Daniel. I'll tear it off and I'll throw it over that fence.
Why don't you blow your nose in some bread and make me a sandwich, too? Hey, Brain. Shoplift in your daddy's store. You're just some rich kid who's trying to piss off her parents.
You are so nasty with me! You are
Maybe you should talk to the boy.
I'm not gonna talk to him again. Ever. You can all just bite me.
Next up, we had Seth Rogen as the cynical and sarcastic Ken Miller. Rogen's dry wit and impeccable comic timing were evident even then, and Freaks and Geeks served as the perfect platform for his brand of humor.
Ow! Don't touch me, scuzz.
I'm sorry. Your butt was calling to me.
Jason Segel portrayed the lovable Nick Andopoulos, the big-hearted drummer nursing a crush on Lindsay Weir. Segel brought a vulnerability to Nick that made him both relatable and endearing.
I mean, you know they're gonna play disco, right? Disco sucks. I hate disco.
Of course, Lindsay Weir was played by Linda Cardellini, and her performance was nothing short of remarkable. She brought depth, authenticity, and vulnerability to the character, capturing the complexities of a teenager navigating the tumultuous high school experience. Her performance is nuanced and layered, capturing Lindsay's transformation from high-achieving mathlete to a rebellious and introspective member of the Freaks group. Cardellini's ability to convey both the internal struggles and external pressures faced by Lindsay showcases her remarkable talent and solidifies her as a standout in the ensemble cast of the show.
I'm sick of you guys getting me in trouble all the time. I'm sick of you guys, period.
Maybe you're just on your period.
Yeah, Daniel. That's exactly it. I'm on my period. You figured it out.
It was a joke.
Oh, sorry. It's hard to pick up on the subtlety of your wit.
On the other side of the high school divide were the geeks. John Francis Daly played the role of Sam Weir, the ever-optimistic younger brother of Lindsay. With his innocent charm and earnest performance, Daly presented us with an authentic portrayal of a well-meaning geek navigating the shark-infested waters of high school.
Oh, what are you doing? I'm giving you something. God, what are you giving me? I'm giving you a hickey, you goof.
Then we had Martin Starr as Bill Haverchuck, the lanky, bespectacled geek who often served as the show's heart. Starr's portrayal of Bill's quiet resilience and lovable awkwardness won the hearts of viewers.
Remember that time in science class when I tried to sneak out a fart, but it came out of poop? And then I had to flush my undies down the toilet? Do you think I wanted to tell you guys that?
And last but not least, we have Sam Levine as Neil Schreiber, the wisecracking, fiercely loyal friend, always quick with a quip or a Star Trek reference. Levine's portrayal of the small but mighty Neil was both hilarious and heartfelt.
You are a turd. A stinky turd. Ghost of a jockstrap. You poop it.
In the vast expanse of high school hierarchies and cliques, Freaks and Geeks introduced us to characters that were not only relatable, but also superbly played by this ensemble cast. Their performances were so powerful and so authentic. They became less like characters and more like classmates that we know all too well. These talented actors breathed life into their characters, and it was their performance that made us feel triumph, heartache, and reminds us just how awkward a time high school is. Capturing the highs and the lows of high school life is no easy task. It does take more than immense creativity and amazing performances. It demands a vision that sees beyond cliches and the courage to deliver stories that are raw, real, and relatable. This is where Freaks and Geeks shines, under the watchful eyes and deft direction of creators Paul Feig and Judd Apatow. Paul Feig, the show's creator, wanted to steer clear of the glossy, idealized high school vibe, which at the time was a staple in teenage dramas. Instead, he wanted to create something that mirrored his own experiences of adolescence, filled with hope and pain, laughter, and most importantly, authenticity. And this desire to share his own adolescent experiences led him to conceive Freaks and Geeks, a show that wasn't afraid to get into the messy, sometimes painful reality of growing up. Teaming up with Feig was Judd Apatow, who served as the show's executive producer. Apatow shared Feig's vision to create a teenage drama that told unfiltered stories of the teenage experience. And together they created a series that was just as heartfelt as it was hilarious. Episodes like Chokin' and Token showcase their knack for weaving together threads of comedy and drama, all while keeping the story grounded in reality. The episode follows Lindsay as she tries the devil's lettuce for the first time and ends up dealing with the guilt and paranoia that follow. Meanwhile, Bill suffers from a peanut allergy attack, creating a dramatic counterpoint to Lindsay's storyline. This balancing act between high stakes and high comedy became a trademark of the show. The episode The Garage Door was another example of the show's ability to tackle complex themes with sensitivity and nuance. In this episode, Neil discovers a second garage door opener in his father's car, leading him to uncover his father's infidelity. The episode deals with the heavy theme of betrayal, but still finds room for humor and warmth, showing us that even in the darkest moments there can be light. Another testament to the brilliance of Freaks and Geeks was the episode We've Got Spirit. Here we see the school spirit week through the lens of both the Freaks and the Geeks. The episode seamlessly transitions between the Geeks' earnest enthusiasm and the Freaks' apathy, once again showcasing the show's ability to capture the diverse experiences of high school life. The entire series really demonstrates the writer's profound understanding of the characters, and we're hell-bent on presenting the teenage struggles in the show in an unvarnished, authentic manner. This raw honesty, paired with the writer's ability to infuse humor in even the most ordinary situations, truly set Freaks and Geeks apart from any other show at this time. Themes such as bullying, family pressures, the desire to fit in, and the painful, confusing throes of first love, all of that was tackled with an unprecedented honesty. The series depicted characters that were grappling with their own identities, insecurities, and growing pains. Even when the show got into the darker themes, it still maintained that sense of humor that was just as layered as it was accessible. It wasn't just about slapstick comedy or cheap laughs. The humor in Freaks and Geeks was clever and nuanced, often drawn from the characters' own quirks and the absurdity of the situation that they have found themselves in. Beyond the writing, the show also stood out in terms of its cinematic quality. Freaks and Geeks paid careful attention to details such as costume design, set decoration, and cinematography. The show was also famous for its eclectic soundtrack, a mix of rock classics and obscure gems. The music of Freaks and Geeks was not just a backdrop, but a character in its own right. It set the tone, captured the zeitgeist, and added another layer of authenticity to the series. All of these elements combined made Freaks and Geeks not just different, but beautiful. It was a show that took us down that winding path of adolescence, showing us the shadows and the sunlight along the way. Despite its unique take on adolescence and its future star-studded cast, Freaks and Geeks was short-lived. I needed to know why. What happened? How did a show with so much potential, authentic storytelling, and such memorable characters get canceled after just one season? The answer to that is not as simple as I thought it was going to be. It was a combination of unique and unfortunate circumstances, many of which had very little to do with the show's quality or its content, which for me personally was a much more frustrating answer. First and foremost, the show suffered from really inconsistent scheduling, which back in the day was a huge deal. Debuting on NBC in the fall of 1999, the show had a very difficult time finding a regular time slot. This inconsistency made it very difficult for viewers to keep up with the show even if they wanted to. And that, of course, was a major hit to the show's ratings. In addition, the show found itself up against some serious competition. Its original time slot put it head-to-head with the popular Who Wants to Be a Millionaire on ABC. Competing with such a television juggernaut was an uphill battle, and unfortunately, Freaks and Geeks fell short in the ratings war. Moreover, the show's unflinching look at high school life may have been a bit too realistic for some viewers and advertisers. In an era where shows like Friends and Seinfeld painted a largely idealistic picture of life, the raw and often painful realities presented by Freaks and Geeks may have been too much of a departure. Which is such a shame because I know that if Freaks and Geeks aired today, it would do well because of those exact reasons. The series didn't sugarcoat the adolescent experience, and while this resonated with many viewers, it may have turned others away. Another contributing factor was the show's demographic appeal. While Freaks and Geeks dealt with high school life, it was a very far cry from the shows that were also in high school land at that time. Freaks and Geeks explored really mature themes, which was appealing to a more mature audience, but the theme plus the setting of high school didn't really resonate with adults, who were far removed from their own high school experiences. And it's not like today where nostalgia reigns supreme. That wasn't exactly what adult viewers wanted to see. They didn't really give a shit about high school. On the other hand, younger audiences could totally relate to the situations happening to these characters, but the darker themes were a bit too heavy for the younger audience. All of these factors combined led to the premature cancellation of Freaks and Geeks. Despite producing 18 critically acclaimed episodes, filled with authentic stories and memorable performances, the show could not overcome the hurdles that were in its path. It serves as a devastating reminder that in the TV industry, quality does not always equal longevity. Freaks and Geeks, despite its short run, has left a lasting imprint on the television landscape. Its legacy lives on not just in the careers of its cast, but in the hearts of the audiences who connected with its authentic portrayal of high school life. Even after 2 decades, the show's influence is evident in the many series that have followed in its footsteps, striving to capture the same raw and relatable depiction of adolescence. In a world of high school dramas where popularity and perfection often reign supreme, Freaks and Geeks dared to be different. It gave us characters that weren't always popular, who weren't always successful, but were always real. In doing so, it created a show that not only entertained us, but made us feel seen, understood, and less alone in our growing pains.
Ask you to tell your brother that he has a beautiful body.
That is so stupid.
Lindsay, tell him.
It's not gonna help him.
Lindsay, just say the words. It'll make him feel better.
Sam, you have a beautiful body. You're an Adonis, a slab of beef. If I wasn't your sister, oh my God.
Lindsay, can it?
See, sweetheart?